Orange Country.
Welcome.
Hello. Welcome to you as well, Shane. All right, let's take it again. All right, one more time.
I actually love that. I love that. That should be what it is. So I'm Shane McAnally.
And I'm Gina Kirschenheiter. I'm trying to rebrand. I would love to be Gina K.
I like the rebranding.
Yes.
The idea of that. I'll call you Gina K.
Thank you.
Gina, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Here in Orange Country.
I've never done that before.
Okay. Okay.
We have that moment in the musical where the guy goes, okay. And the girl goes, don't do that.
In what musical now?
Shucked. It's
Shucked?
New hit Broadway musical that is taking over New York.
It literally is though, because I've seen it and it is wonderful, amazing.
Thank
I
you.
love it. It's nonstop laughing.
Yeah.
It is so witty and funny that a joke happens, you laugh, and you might even miss a joke because there's so many because you're laughing, but it doesn't matter because there's another one coming down the pike like every 5 seconds.
True.
I loved it. I couldn't stop laughing. And I liked that it's like, it has like an underlying, important messages and all that, but it's not in your face.
It's just
it's
joy.
A great ride.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's fun and exciting. And I loved to laugh. Like literally my stomach hurt from laughing
Thank
by the time
you.
I ended. And everybody else loved it.
I'm so glad you came, and I'm really proud of it. It's been a 10-year journey.
Yeah.
And it's the time for it. I mean, it really has been the best example of timing. There were so many years when we thought it was ready, so many times that we wished it had already gone to Broadway and things just didn't work out and producers changed and new directors came in and at every turn we were like, we're ready. But there wasn't a theater available for us and people weren't as excited in New York as we hoped they would be. And the timing of it now with the world where it's at and people just want to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And we hoped that was the case, but we're finding out that is the case as people leave the theater and say, I've heard this comment multiple times and it is so perfect. I've heard people leaving and going, that is just what I needed.
Yes. And honestly, I can identify with that too, because I'll tell you during the pandemic, people were telling me, about the show. Thank you. We needed that. Sometimes you just don't need everything so freaking heavy.
That is what the housewives are for me a lot of times. And specifically OC is you guys do have a good time. And yeah, there's some storylines and people fighting, but you laugh a lot.
And it's an escape, right?
Yeah.
And it's a really nice night. It's a good thing to be able to go out and whether you're home watching TV or whatever, but to come out and see Shucked and just have a good experience, to laugh and have a great night. And there are, it's a very nice, subtle message about unity and different communities coming together in a hysterical, very non-hit you over the head with it way. And that is brilliant.
There's a thing about theater that I just realized because when I'm watching the show every night because we're in previews now and by the time this airs, we'll be open and hopefully a worldwide phenomenon. But
yes,
at this time, we're still working and changing things. And every night I sit there and I leave feeling this, you use the word unity. I feel united with the audience. And it's because Broadway is the last place where it is completely unacceptable to look at your phone.
Oh, that's interesting.
In concerts, even movies now, because we all watch movies at home.
Yeah.
Very few scenarios where we're in a theater watching a movie. And even in the movie, people can look at their phone.
Yeah.
And it's just not acceptable in a Broadway theater. And I think that's why people are connected in there.
Yeah.
You're laughing with the person next to you, even if it's a stranger, and you're not distracted by your phone. And by the way, I'm not judging because I'm the worst culprit of this. I just think it's interesting to see people having to sit still
it's good
and
to
dive
force
in
it.
together.
Yeah, like sometimes people need that to be forced to do that, but then they realize, oh wait, this is great because I was able to actually focus and have a connection and an experience that I didn't even know I needed.
I think and I don't think people know, why is it different? Why does it feel different? And that's why I really think it's because we're turning off our lives and going in there and escaping.
And it's a personal, it's interactive. I like that. Like I like that the cast members are
like
they break the
breaking of the
fourth
fourth
wall,
wall,
right? And for me, I'm like, oh, this is great because I want to do that shit all the time, and I never can. Like I wish that I was on Housewives and I could just pan over and be like, this bitch is crazy, right?
If you
like
could look at the camera and do that on Housewives,
it would be like my joy. So every time they would do that, I'd be like, right there with you. Like it's fun and it's fun to involve the audience. I think it's great, and it's going to be a smash success, and it's only one of the like very long list of things that you do. So
you said do.
I did. I said do.
So it is on a long list of things I do, but I'll tell you, it's at the very top. It has become my absolute favorite.
Really?
There's just
so
something
you would
magical.
Do it again? Would you do this again?
I would.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Even though it's taken so long, it's the team aspect of it. When it's up there on stage and you're seeing everything come together, and you know what the choreographer went through, and you know what the lighting department went through, and you know what the sound department went through to get it right. All these departments working together, all these people there for the greater good. Everyone's agenda is the same: make the show as good as it can be. Nobody is trying to fight for their own material. It is just what works for the show. And if we could all implement that into our lives a little more, I think that is a great metaphor for the things that feel the best in life, is when we're working as a group for the greater good and hopefully making people feel better.
I love everything about what you just said. Can you talk to my cast members?
Well, that's funny.
Castmates?
I mean, it is the opposite of what a lot of times you have to deal with, which is, now I'm projecting and I'm going to let you answer for yourself, but it does feel like people are gunning for position, out for themselves, worried about screen time.
Yeah. And I don't know why, because we don't even really, all of that is already mapped out. Like you don't even have to be fighting for that really. So I don't really get it, but I think it's just natural.
Do you not have to, do you not feel like you get more if you're more salacious or more disruptive?
Not airtime, more attention, perhaps.
But not
the
more
squeaky
airtime.
reel gets the grease. No, not more airtime. It's an ensemble cast, and it's they
split
make
it up
as
accordingly.
even as possible. And I mean, maybe if there's something really big that's going on, and you go over to discuss something with that person, but like nobody should be upset by that either. It's like if something big happens in your franchise, if you're all succeeding, you're all winning. That's how I look at it. So. I don't know, but there is this, there's a lot of ego involved in what I'm on and what I'm doing. And
well, what about when you guys line up for the picture? Who decides who gets to stand in the middle and hold the orange, and who decides, or how do people react when you're being lined up?
So that,
because you guys just did that, right?
Yeah. And historically, I feel like that's been like a thing. It's never been, I honestly think though, since we've been on it, maybe I'm wrong because I don't really pay attention to that stuff because I just know I'm not going to be the middle one and I'm okay with that. But the last couple of years, it's been no middle. There's been,
okay.
Yeah.
Because you have an even number of people?
I
so
guess,
there's no middle person.
And they just like kind of, I think they're trying to not have that be the case because nobody wants to, I guess, create this hierarchy. Or I don't really know. Like the last couple years we've only done, or like this year, I think we all only did center. So like we're all just going to be standing there, like holding it. And I think there is an even amount of women.
Okay.
So, but like everything they make a big deal, like who sits next to Andy and stuff like that. I don't really.
I will say you guys do. It does feel different when I think about, oh God.
Don't eat it. You're hungry?
When I think about the OC cast or the franchise, it doesn't quite seem to have the element of like the Teresa Giudice or the Nene Leakes, maybe Kyle Richards, the idea that there's somebody that that is really the centerpiece.
Well, Tamara's back. So.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I would expect that Tamara would have been in the middle holding the orange because of all the tension on her coming back. And that there was such a sort of demand and people really missed her.
She'll definitely be like, they'll definitely give her welcome back moment, like Heather had that welcome back moment and everything. And they'll definitely concentrate on that, as they should. I mean, look, Tamara was a staple and an icon on the show for like a really long time. She came
in on second season. Is that right?
I think so, because that's when I watched it. So I think it was from second season. Yeah. So it was definitely second or third.
Well, I heard someone talking on Andy's show the other night, and oh gosh, who was it? I can't remember, but they said, I guess Tamara, because she was an OG, and I was sitting there thinking, I don't think she was. I mean, she might be the OG among.
Yeah, she wasn't
OC
in the first
is
cast.
The oldest franchise.
17 years.
So she may have been around longer than anyone else on any of the other shows, but she wasn't in the first season, I didn't think.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah. And you like her?
I like Tamara. Yeah. I mean, I get it. I get that Tamara has a job to do and she does it. And I think we have a respect for each other. And I don't get in too deep because I know that, some people you shouldn't, and so that I never have a problem with her because of that. I just stay in my lane and I don't like go tell her all my secrets, but like, that's okay, but we have a healthy respect for each other and I think she's good for the show. And
do you find it strange that so often on the show, and I've noticed this more lately, not necessarily on OC, on any franchise, that people will tell a secret to someone knowing good and well that person is going to go and tell the other person. Like such and such said this about you. And then that person goes and tells the person.
The pot stirrer.
But what's crazy is that then when it comes back around, no one is like, what? They're just like, she told me what you said. And I would look at the other person that did that and why did you do that? But they don't. They're just like, well, I said it.
It's something that you have to sort of accept, because if nobody moves that plot forward, there's no show.
Right.
You know what I mean? So to a certain extent, and also, but there are certain things like, look, there are certain things that I tell Emily that I pretty much know this is going to go beyond and probably come back to bite me in the ass. And I don't get mad at Emily about that.
Because Emily is sort of a self-proclaimed
a little bit of a pot stirrer. Yeah, but she's really just doing her job,
totally.
And
eventually
moving,
that stuff's going to come out because they're going to see it.
And so, but there are things that obviously Emily and I know everything about each other. And there are a lot of things that I tell Emily as a friend in confidence that if she did then go and tell some of that stuff to someone else, I would be pissed.
Yeah, well, tell me something Emily's told you to never tell anyone.
Yeah, no, not at all. I'm not going to do that.
I'd love to know. No.
I'm sure you would,
we
but
need
I
to
don't
have
get in
Emily
trouble.
on.
We do need to have Emily on. I know, she's so great.
And
she's really funny too.
And with the new season, you guys have your old partnership sort of intact.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, we're like ride or die friends. So there's no way.
Were y'all friends before?
No, we didn't even know each other.
Y'all got to know each other on the show and it just took off.
We lumped in together. Yeah, but it was kind of like, we're on a life raft together.
Yeah.
And that was like a good bond that we had. Trauma bond.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck is going on bond.
Both new.
Yeah, because we were both new and we're like, what the fuck? Just like shielding ourselves from all the chaos, and these women are all coming at us and we don't even know what's going on. And we had each other and it was like nice. And then, we had our shit, but our shit was real.
Who had the fight the first season with Shane?
Me.
It was you when you were leaving the house or something and he said something. What was that?
The thing is, okay, and looking back at it, retrospect, I know what you're talking about. We were at a party at Emily's house. It was an all cast party, an all cast event. I didn't even know really what that even meant. I'm showing up to this thing. All I know is it was poker night. It was an adult party, but you have to understand it was like that was going on downstairs, but upstairs, Shane had his kids and he's trying to put them to bed. He hated the show. He hated everything about all of this. He didn't want any of us or any production or anybody in his house.
Right.
And he's pissed off about it. And Emily's trying to like manage that. We didn't even know they were in the house. you know? So I'm loud and obnoxious as I usually am, and I'm drinking and I'm at an adult, what I think is an adult party.
Right.
And so now I'm leaving and I'm like just saying goodbye to everybody, but I'm like dropping F-bombs and like just being myself because I don't know. And Shane got really pissed and he came out and he would have yelled at anybody that was there. And he was just yelling basically, you know? And he mostly honestly was yelling at production, you know, because he's like, get the fuck out of my house. This party's over. And he just wasn't receptive to the whole thing. You know, his kids are upstairs. So I totally understood it. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, but you just open up a can of worms here now because now I have to at least justify why it's not appropriate for you to be like yelling at me. But honestly, I never gave Shane crap for that. Everybody else did.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I didn't remember you fighting with him. I remember Kelly Dodd.
Yes.
And do you ever talk to her?
No, God, no. Let's not even.
Let's
just. I don't even think we want to mention her name. She's just the dregs of the earth.
Except that your ex is married to a girl that
Except
looks
that
just like her.
I know, that's weird. We can talk about that. That is weird.
Every time I see a picture of her.
I know.
What's her name? I'm sorry.
Brett.
Well, every time I see a picture of her on your Instagram, I think, oh my gosh, she's befriended Kelly Dodd again.
Never.
I have to stop.
I know.
And look.
But they really do look similar, except I think Britt is a much more beautiful
Yeah,
woman.
I do too. But it's in photographs more than although she was on the show that time. And I thought
they did pan too. I mean, you can't deny it. They do have a similar look and vibe, but they have a completely different heart and spirit. I can tell you that much.
Right. So how are your kids?
Oh my God, my kids are so great. I love everything about, honestly, my home life, family life, parent life is so good right now. Like we're in such a good stride and phase of life because the ages that they're at, they're like, they can wipe their own ass, but they still love us. Like they don't hate us yet because they're not teenagers.
Wow, that's a really good, you're right. That's
Don't
where
you
we
feel
are
that
too.
way?
And I hadn't really thought about how lucky I am that I don't have to wipe anybody's ass anymore, except my husband. But
but that's by choice.
It is.
Yeah.
No, but really I hadn't thought about how, especially we've been traveling a lot, the idea of that they've been able to carry their own bags and deal with all of that. And
it's huge.
But still love us.
It's major,
and
aren't
embarrassed
cute,
by us.
And they want to be on vacation.
Snuggle.
Yeah. And they enjoy being out. They appreciate things. They appreciate you.
Yep.
That is like very nice. I have been really enjoying that. It's not missed on me. And I'm just like sad that I know they're gonna be, turn on me. It's like kids are like like zombies.
They do. It is true.
And then they hit an age and they just fucking
How
they've
old
been
is
infected.
that? When is that going to happen to us?
I hear that it's like 13.
Yeah.
And then they're gone.
And you've got.
So our oldest is Travis's daughter and she is 11. She'll be 12 in September. So but she's so sweet. I can't imagine her turning on us. But my Nicholas is 10 and he's going to turn.
Yeah.
He'll turn for sure.
I know. I feel that way about my son.
He's so sweet now, but he will
so
turn.
sweet, but it's like, when are you not going to want to, he still will kiss me.
I know.
And
Nicholas
I'm just
my boys actually still want to kiss me on the lips.
Yeah,
I
me
don't know,
too.
but I'm like, I don't know how.
I don't care if it's weird.
I don't either, but
I'm going to kiss that kid until he won't.
I am too.
Yeah.
And I'm actually surprised because the other boys are starting to be a little more embarrassed around their moms, but Nick doesn't
just
care.
your boy.
He just loves me. And he thinks I'm kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My kids don't think I'm cool, but they definitely they're so snuggly and sweet, especially him, funny enough.
I love that.
She's a little more like, we've always joked that he's a dog and she's a cat.
That's hysterical, actually.
He's always kind of just like been a puppy.
I got 3 puppies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a whole puppy.
And Travis's kids, it's all still the immersion of the.
Great. Yeah. The blending is not, I never thought I would have stepkids. That was never, you know what I mean? Yeah, who would think of that, right? So when we were dating, I never thought about the dynamics of blending and almost naive, almost now I'm like, thank God things worked out so well because it could have been bad. But our kids just from the get, we're so happy to be around each other and they just loved they loved
That is
each
so
other.
unusual though.
I know.
To not have any, and it's probably the ages help.
I think the age for sure was the best age. Like if you have to get divorced, right? It's like, that was a good age. They're young and they don't really get things. And if you shield them from like all your relationship bullshit, then they're fine.
How do you discipline his kids?
I just do. You know what? When the kids are in the house, our home, I'm the mom and Travis is the dad.
Okay.
And they just respect that. Like we're they call us the parents.
Yep.
And I think also because they don't really know what to call us because they don't say mom and dad. So I'm saying this figuratively, because I'm not their mom. He's not their dad.
Right.
They have a mom and a dad. But in our home, those are the roles. And so they just say, ask the parents. We got to go ask the parents.
We have the dads.
The dads.
Even though Michael is Pop and I'm Dad, when you talk about us as a unit,
it's the dads.
It's the dads and sometimes the parents too. A funny thing happened to us on this trip that we've been on. We were in Africa, and Egypt specifically. And there's some, around the world, there are interesting laws about being gay. And although most of them are not enforced and they're not looking for gay people, to throw in jail, we had a couple of conversations with tour guides about what that was like in different countries. And somebody said in front of our kids, without us thinking the kids were paying attention, that it was illegal to be gay. And it's saying it's illegal to be gay. It's not, again, they're not looking for you to say you have to go to jail. But we stopped at a passport control place in an airport. And the guy who was checking passports, a lot of times they'll make conversation with the kids just to make sure the kids are with their right parents, or, they'll just ask them a question like, oh, where have you been? Or,
little safety
is
check.
This your sister?
Yeah.
And one of the guys said, where's your mother? And honestly, we just usually just go, oh, they don't have a mom. But it was because we were in a foreign country and we weren't sure what the rule was.
Yeah.
We all just kind of froze, and Dash said, she's sick.
Wow.
And it broke my heart that he felt the need to lie.
Yeah.
Because he was scared.
Because he was aware that was a dangerous.
Yeah. And then he came up with it. We walked off, and I didn't want to get on to him because there was nothing to get on to. I said, what made you say that? And he goes, I didn't know. I didn't want them to take you to jail. So I just thought.
Actually, it's instinctually, it's so smart.
It was so smart
sweet.
And so sweet. And it, it's funny enough, we're dealing with that in our hometown. I mean,
I know that's so interesting because when you're telling this story, I'm literally thinking to myself, you're referencing how like, oh, because we're not in our country. And then I'm thinking to myself, how does it feel though to live in your country and in your hometown and to be having, because you're Nashville, to be having all these new laws passed and to be feeling a little bit like your rights are being taken away.
Well, I've always defended Nashville about these things because a lot of times, having been the gay country songwriter, people will always put on this projected like, oh my God, that must have been horrible trying to, navigate.
It horrible?
No. And when I first moved to Nashville, it was in the 90s. So things were very different. I was just closeted because that was what you did. And then when I came back and started to have success, I went to LA for a while and came back, and that was around 2009, 2010. Everything was totally different in the world I was in, songwriting and producing. Nobody cared. And I felt nothing but open arms. So when different articles or publications writers have tried to sort of corner me on that and say, what was it like being, and I'm always like, I've felt nothing but love from our immediate community. And as these things would come up about different laws or don't say gay or these drag laws, I would actually say to people that were posting and all this crazy stuff, I would say, y'all have got to calm down. This is not going to happen. This is so dumb. No, they will never come after those things because what do they care?
Right. Yeah.
And it's so shocking that now I have to eat those words because it's actually happening. And I don't even feel, I think I'm still just completely stunned. What in the world do these lawmakers and these conservative, and I hate to even just say conservatives because I have friends that I consider conservative that certainly wouldn't come after drag queens because what is the point?
Right. Well, it's a waste of time.
It
is. It's a waste of political
energy,
power.
exactly.
It's a waste of
Money.
Funding. Yeah, money that could be spent elsewhere.
I'm just
And
still
what
just totally
is exactly,
confused.
I have a question. So you can no longer in Nashville dress in drag. Is that
Well, you can't.
in public?
Yes, if it's possible that a child could see it.
So what about Halloween?
Thank you.
Because that's fun and
It's a great
everybody
question.
dresses.
That's
So
why-
many of my friends, my guy friends, will dress up like a girl. Girls will dress up like boy. I want to be Elvis for Halloween. I can't do that in Nashville.
Well, that's where the confusion of the lines that get drawn are and why it's such a silly thing to put into law because who says, any of these things.
And if I do that, then what? If I dress as Elvis, Then I should be scared that my kids are going to
wanna be
want to
Elvis.
be Elvis. Like
That's
I think
what
it's
I can't
so
figure
ridiculous.
out. And it is, clickbait to the highest degree. It is people that want so badly to just show that they're fighting for families and for God. And it's
not everybody's family and not everybody's God.
well, but nobody's God.
No, it's
when you think
crazy.
meaning that's nobody's God. The God that we've all learned about and been taught, whether in organized religion or not, is a all loving God, is a God that is of acceptance and certainly doesn't give you the power.
Because
to
nobody has
judge,
that power.
And-
Well, it means like they're acting like they are God.
Well, that's the thing is to use God in that way is the part that honestly, that's what hurts me the most because I feel like as a gay man and trying to be on the right side of this for my family, you somehow have to separate yourself from Christianity because these people have labeled Christianity as anti this. That's not true.
I was actually just talking to somebody who made that point because she was saying how she feels it's hard for her because, and I'm not very religious. I'm just not, right? But I'm not anti-religion, whatever. But she was saying how as a Christian woman, it's almost like she feels like she has to hide that because then if she's open about that, she thinks that people are going to also think that then she hates gay people and she hates, because there's like a stigma that's coming along with that now. And it's just getting so confusing.
It's like
to
they've
everybody.
drawn, just because that is what our country has started to do is put people on sides,
Well, there's no more middle.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that what you said about your friend is so interesting. I identify as a Christian. It's really hard for my husband and I to have reasonable conversations about religion because I grew up in the South and I grew up with a love of being in church and the community of that. And that is a loss because I can't identify as part of that world without also associating myself with people who don't think I should have a family. And I don't think it's a wash. I don't think it's all for every Christian and vice versa. But because of the design of the political system now and the clickbait nature, salacious nature of trying to get attention, that people are saying, if you like drag queens, you're not a Christian. I know how broad that sounds, but that is how it feels to someone who is a Christian who doesn't think that drag queens should be messed with.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand. I think that it's a tricky thing, but like you said, it's the clickbait factor and people are deducing these really, like heavy, complicated issues, right? First of all, they're social issues. I don't know why they're a part of politics to begin with. Like, it's like they're social issues. I feel like that should be separate. And then we already had separation of church and state. Like, what happened to that? Why are we circling the drain again on this? It's like we've already said, keep that out of politics.
And it causes, and now with social media, you see your friends post something that has nothing to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
If I post a Bible verse,
mm-hmm.
it automatically associates me where people fire off and say, how can you post
you're
that?
not supporting your own
Exactly.
people.
And I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But it's those things don't.
But the thing is, your God is like whatever grounds you, whatever makes you a better person, whatever keeps you on the right path. And if it's Christianity, you're looking and taking out all the good parts of that.
Right.
And then you're channeling that and you're living your life by that. And anybody who is extracting bad parts from a religion is not living by the way the religion intended, because God is supposed to be good and happy and loving and forgiving and all these things. So that's why I'm not religious, because it's too much for me. It's too contradictory and it's used so much
also
for
been
bad.
It's been used for bad, and it ruins it for the people that weren't,
I'm like, just live a good. Like, I almost wish, and I know this is probably crazy to say, and I've said this before, so I'm certain it's crazy to say, but I feel that the Bible could use a little rewrite.
Well, here's the deal. The rewrite is not in the Bible. The rewrite is of the translations of the Bible.
Well, those were bad translations.
The Bible is general in its nature. It is about good and doing right by people and showing up for people. And, it's a general, to me, the stories they're for lessons.
Yeah, right. They're supposed to be morals and lessons and all
that.
And
then people come in and say
want.
that this means this. And, it's funny because I know I know we have the microphones, but there's someone else in the room who we both work with. And Robert Carlton, this week you posted this thing that was about the Kentucky laws of the thing. And I'm not even sure what Kentucky has done. I just know because every day I see something about the gay, the agenda against gay rights. And it really meant a lot to me. And I know it wasn't about me, but that you posted that. And the reason why is because Robert is, I would say, in the eyes of the liberal world, is a more conservative minded person. I mean, you grew up in a small town in Tennessee. You are a churchgoer. You raise your family that way through the eyes of, a Christian God. Same for me. But when someone like that posts something about that, saying, this is not right, it means so much. But the thing is, it shouldn't be so shocking to me, that people around me, it shouldn't make me go, God, I'm really glad Robert stepped out that way. Because the thing is, in Nashville, that is stepping out and saying, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's
important though. I would argue it's even more important for people,
it is important,
right? Yeah,
and it
because
means
those people,
more.
because,
but I'm just saying it's sad that it has to.
It is. That it's come to that, right? Yeah, it is sad. And it is because honestly, at the end of the day, everybody should just be a good person and not judge each other and just let everybody live their fucking lives.
And what does it have to do with them?
And what is your, I'm sorry, there's people all over doing all kinds of things. You might be in school, and I hate to make this comparison, but it's true. You might be in school your whole life, or your next door neighbor your whole life. Turns out Carl next door is a serial killer, right? No one knew he was here. I'm not scared that then all of a sudden, because he was living next door, my kids are going to be serial killers. I mean, it's just so absurd to me. Like, and maybe my kids
parent your kids,
and parent your kids, and honestly, parent your kids to love.
And if your 11-year-old
respect everybody
is hanging out at a drag bar, I mean, maybe you know, that's the thing is
maybe you need to listen to your child.
My kid is not going to, because they're children.
Well,
that's
they're
the
not,
thing
but
is
like also just be open to who your children are. Your children are who they are.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna, you know, and so why are we so concerned with all this? I don't worry about who my kids are, because whoever they are, they're going to be great people.
You're not going to be able to, trust me. Our son, we crack up at the fact that we have this boy that is so boy by the standards of what, you know, a boy and a girl are.
Mm-hmm.
He is obsessed with his sports. He wants to do nothing else but talk about sports. You know, his greatest day is when I took him to a Knicks game this weekend. It is so fun to watch him in that element, because I just watch him through the whole game because my kid is so happy. But he certainly, first of all, not only do I not know much about sports, basketball is the least of the things I know about. I never showed him that. You know, it's just in him. He just loves it.
They are who they are.
And that is what's so interesting about, you know, people that think that these things are going to somehow influence their kids in the wrong way.
The only thing they're influencing their kids with is hate.
That's right.
And that I believe that. Like, they're doing what they're doing. They are teaching their children to hate.
Yeah.
And I just cannot understand for the life of me why you want to teach your kids to hate. Like, I just want to raise my kids with love.
I don't think that's what they think they're doing.
But they are.
Yeah, but I would have to hope that these parents somewhere believe they're protecting their kids from something.
Well, they do, but they're wrong.
Yeah, I know. It's just another thing to be mad about.
Yeah.
And
divide us.
And take our differences and
move away from the
middle.
As
opposed to what I feel like, and I'll be honest with you, this is a hard thing to admit, but being a gay man and married to a man who've decided to have kids, when we had our son specifically, we have twins, we have a boy and a girl, but I used to have a fear that he would be gay because I would be afraid that everyone would say we made him that way. And so that's so interesting. In some angle, you could look at and say, well, you didn't want that for your kid either. Do you know what I
know what you're talking about. I'm telling you, but it's your child, so you do worry about everything. Like, I'm telling you, I had a moment, and this is nothing in comparison to that, but I know what you're saying, because my son, Nicholas, plays all the sports, and my son he likes sports and everything, but my Nicholas is also like, he likes to put on the jewelry, and he loves to put on my shoes. Like, that's just what he likes, that, right? And it means nothing. It's just, he's whatever. But he is that kid, you know, like, he's got that thing. And so for flag football this year, they decided to do the nicknames on their jerseys, and they thought it would be cute to give them all names from Top Gun. And they gave my son the name Hollywood. And I think it's so cute. But for a second in my mind, I literally said this, and I was like, I hope that people don't think that I gave my kid because the Hollywood because I'm on this show. And then I think what I think about myself, and now I'm putting I think my kid's Hollywood. I bet she does think her kid's Hollywood. And then I feared that, because it's not, that is so the last of who I am. And the thing that I always get affected by the most, and I fear the most, is being misrepresented, and people not thinking that of me, and that poorly of my integrity, and that I would do that to my kid. That's what it is, right? It's like that feeling that you think people would think that you're doing anything to your child that's selfish.
Right.
And I would never do that. It's hard.
That makes me think about your kids in the show specifically. I know they're not on the show much. Is there difference? Are there differences in who wants to be does Nicholas
Nicholas
want
loves
to film?
it. Yeah, like Nicholas wants to be, he tells me he wants to be an actor. And this is not coming from me. This
No,
is before I even got on the show, because we have a friend I live in Orange County, so there's a lot of kids and they're in like little commercials and shit, my friends' kids and stuff. So he wanted to do all that, and I drove him to LA, and I was like, I'm going to support you. I got him little headshots. I took him to LA, and I was like, nope, I'm not support. This is as far as it goes, because I don't want to do the driving. It was too overwhelming.
wow.
I was like, I'm not a momager. It was just to get like
the first thing
the manager
started.
or whatever, the agent, and he got it. But I was like, nope, we're gonna back out of this. And then everything was happening personally, so I took a step back. But he wants to do it so much, and it's so funny to me because for whatever reason, it's like all they want is Sienna. And Sienna wants nothing to fucking do with it. Oh,
that's funny.
Yeah, like she will do it.
Why did they? What made them gravitate towards her?
Well, it's because naturally, I think on the show the last couple of years, I had stuff going on with my daughter. Like she went through some struggles. She has like processing disorder and sensory disorders. And so I shared that on the show. And so now naturally, they want to follow that and see that she's doing great. And like Nick and Luca are on it, as well, but they wanted to really track that story. And I get that, but it's like Sienna, because of her sensory stuff and stuff, like she does not want to wear the mic, like everything bothers her, and I'm not going to force her to do it. So it is what it is. You're going to boom her or you can cut it out. Like last year, the same thing. They wanted to follow her. We did our equine occupational therapy and all that, but she wouldn't wear the mic. They ended up getting rid of the whole thing. And I'm like, I don't care because you know what? It was a fun day with my daughter and I'm not forcing her to do anything.
How much does that affect daily life?
It doesn't.
No.
It only affects daily life because mommy's working a lot. And they know when I'm working, I miss stuff and that affects me, that affects them.
But
affects you.
I meant specifically her sensory.
No, she's fine.
She is.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like how is she now?
Yeah, just
she's
in
great.
general. Like
she's
you
great.
wouldn't.
She doesn't wear underwear, and fuck it, I don't either. I hate underwear. Marissa knows I don't even bring underwear when I come on vacation. No, I don't like it.
America is really not as lucky as I am right now, sitting right across.
You're right.
From
You heard it here first.
In a very short skirt. Just kidding. She has pants on. But the thing you were about to say about the time away, that's really what I'm dealing with the most right now, because having worked on this show and other shows, but this Broadway show, I never imagined the amount of work that would go in at the end. I've been writing this show for a decade. So now in the final stretch, right before you actually get to Broadway, all of your attention, it comes down to this. And so we spend 12 hours a day at the theater working with the actors, working with the director, trying to just make sure everything is right. Because this is the moment.
Yeah.
And so the kids were going to be in New York with me for most of this. But what we found was that too much. It was. And they weren't, I wasn't here. I didn't get to see them. So they went back to Nashville and I saw them this past weekend for just a couple of days. And it was really hard when they left. And I haven't really gone through that so much because we spend so much time together. But this past 6 weeks, having only seen them a handful of times is really, really hard.
It's hard. That was a hard adjustment for me too, because I was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
And now, I'm working and this is the same for any parent, like working parents. Like I don't like to say that, it's just a mom thing because it's not. It's a parent. Nobody likes to be away from their kids. It's hard to be away, right? And it's like this balance between you're working and you're providing and you're also fueling your own dreams and your own goals.
I know,
and that's important.
That's a really good point. And I have to say that to moms specifically, and is that there's this idea that when you become a mother, that your dreams take a back seat.
Yeah, because they
do.
They tend to. Yeah. I don't think it has to be that way, but I think historically it and now presently it just is that way. So we accept that.
I think and hope, but really expect that your kids will recognize and it will actually make them better parents. And because really we have to, I've heard you say this, we have to like ourselves before we can really give that away.
Totally.
And these people that we were even discussing before that have all these issues with gay people or drag queens or people of color, anything that's different, they really just don't like themselves.
They're just not happy.
And so it's impossible to open your heart to other people when you won't give yourself a break.
Right. I believe that. They're not whole. Even though they think they are, they're not. Because you can't be a fully fulfilled person that really truly like loves yourself and embraces other people if because you're not. Like, and if you are, you really would, because I feel like I'm very content in my life presently. And so I just find the beauty in everybody else, like, and other chicks are doing good, and I'm like so happy for them. My friends do good. I'm like, that's my friends, and it that all fills up my bucket. And I think differences in people are what makes it so interesting. This is such a beautiful life. If we were all exactly the same, it'd be so fucking boring.
Well, and the seeing of other people's light and the shining of your own light on other people, it really does make yours shine brighter. And not that that's why you do it, because the selflessness is what takes us out of our own crazy, by helping other people, by spending time listening to other people. If just that, if you just listen to someone, I've spent so much of my life waiting to talk as opposed to really listening.
That's smart. I'm still working on that.
Well, but you're a lot younger than me. And the truth is I am ready to tell someone, and it's usually positive, but I'm just ready to go, here's what I have to say about that. And
you have wisdom and you have life that you've lived. You have good.
And I'm still learning, but I will say that listening, people respond if you just stop and listen. And even, to tie this back to the people we're talking about and the people that seem to really be fueled by hate or fueled by hurting people, I do think somewhere they just want to be heard. Even if what they're trying to shout is covered up in this sort of propaganda or this false ideas, somewhere someone did not listen. And now they've taken on this cause of, well, I'm going to make it a big statement because you didn't pay attention. I think it's why Donald Trump was elected. I think it's why there is such a separation when it comes to politics. And I lived those first few years of that administration so mad at the world and wanting to fight the other side, when the truth is it really became apparent to me that there are so many people in this country who do not feel like they have been heard. And one of the reasons is nobody wants to hear a lot of the shit they have to say, because a lot of it is just mean. But I do think it's also a cry for help to some degree.
It's like a throwing a fit too, right?
That's right.
It's like they're throwing a fit. It's like the toddler syndrome.
And I have to wonder if half the time they even really care about what they're saying.
I don't think they even really know.
No,
what
it's
saying.
Like it is like throwing a fit, where a kid is like, when you stop the child and go, what's really wrong here?
Right.
They don't know.
Let's get more money into the schools. Let's get fun. Let's get better education. Let's get more programs in schools. And I'm telling you, if these people focused on that and they got a law passed that helps someone, they would feel so much better.
My God. If they could just, have programs and encourage unity. You said that word at the very beginning, and it's there. I was thinking, it's funny when you said it, I was thinking about how the word unity is in community.
Yeah.
That's never hit me before.
And that's shucks, right? Yes. It's about community and unity. Yeah.
And that is going back to the musical and
corn.
Yeah. And corn. I mean, who doesn't love corn?
Everybody loves it.
At least they love talking about it.
No, everybody loves it. It's a delicious
singing
vegetable.
About it.
Yes.